Well, I mean, yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on. You're trying to put together, and luckily, I'm in a good situation where I'm able to evaluate a little bit. Obviously, I'm not coaching in the bowl game, and be able to see the personnel, see the assistants, and how the support staff works together. Obviously, I'm meeting a ton of new faces and trying to get a feel for the personnel that's out here on the field, but also in the coaching staff too. Um, so the nice thing is I've got some time to be able to transition into some of that stuff, and then get my family down here as soon as possible too. So that's important. My wife's actually flying down tonight to get involved in some of that.
Coach, can you just walk us through the process of just engaging with Herm and considering the job and what ultimately led to your decision to take it?
Sure, yeah. Coach Edwards has been phenomenal in the process and very straightforward. And with the transition, getting down here, I wanted to get down here as soon as possible to do this and be able to see everybody and jump right into things as soon as possible. And obviously, I'm in a limited role, at this time. But yeah, Coach Edwards was really great, in the whole transition in the process, understanding that I've got things going on, to tie up at Boise State before getting down here. But what a great guy to be able to coach for. I'm definitely honored to be down here at Arizona State and to be a part of this, and looking forward to the future.
What do you think about the personnel? Did you study it? Did you look at it before you made your decision? And Jayden Daniels in particular?
Jayden's a special quarterback, and the offense is definitely going to be built around him, and he's one of those guys that you don't see too often, and I'm very excited to be able to work with him and the offensive guys. As far as the personnel goes, yeah, had a chance to look at some of that. A lot of it's been online, and the last few practices I'm able to come out there and watch. But, really still trying to take it all in and be able to see what's out there, be able to make a few of those decisions and create some opinions on my own as well. So I'm trying not to be influenced too much, but also trying to figure some things out as well.
I know the fact that you coached against Florida State just 3 months ago wasn't the factor why you got hired, but let's talk about that interesting dynamic as ASU faces them in the Sun Bowl.
Sure. Yeah, with facing Florida State, obviously that was the first game of the year, so a lot of that game planning, all the game planning for that at that point was from the year before. So some of that information and stuff like that changed throughout the year. But, Coach Christensen's in charge of the offense right now as I'm transitioning in. And, just being out at these practices, he's doing a great job of getting the guys ready. And the organization is really good. And again, just trying to meet some of these coaches and see some of the assistants, too, and how they're involved in the operation. So, But as far as Florida State, again, I'm staying out of that, from that standpoint. I've got no influence on the game plan or, how that is involved. So I just get to go watch the game, watch the personnel, see the coaches coach, see the operation, and then be able to plan moving forward in January.
So you will be down in El Paso?
I will be down there, yes.
The biggest selling points beyond maybe just Herm himself to make you want to make this move?
Coach Edwards was a big piece of that. Jayden Daniels was a big piece of that. I know there's a lot of weapons down here, and offensively, that's intriguing to be able to come into, a place where, there are those weapons, and we're just going to try to find ways to get guys in space and get our playmakers the ball. But being down here, obviously, this is a great place to live. I felt good about my family coming down here and living down here in this area. It's a easily recruitable place. So I think from a recruit standpoint, this is a place you want to come. And so I think getting those high-level recruits like they have in the past, like those Jayden Daniel type guys, I mean, is very easy here. I mean, you got great weather, you've got a great coaching staff. Coach Edwards does a phenomenal job in recruiting. And has a great vision for the program, and I think that was a big piece why I came down here too, was his vision and how he approaches everything on a daily basis. I felt very comfortable with taking this role.
There was a fine line between trying to implement your system and actually working with the personnel you have right now. Do you feel that some of the stuff you did at Boise State you
I think that for this first year, I'm going to be able to see and talk as a staff and be able to put the best guys on the field, and whatever personnel group that is, we're going to, have to work with what we've got, and obviously with the recruiting piece, in the future, using different types of bodies and some tight ends and things like that, incorporating that into the offense, can be more towards that Boise State style, but I'm definitely prepared to do whatever we need to do in the offense with the personnel groups that we have. And I feel like the offense is adjustable to certain personnels, and we can use different bodies in different ways. And so whatever that looks like going into spring, and then it's nice to be able to evaluate spring and go, okay, well, here are the guys we need to get on. This is the personnel we're best in. Obviously, we're recruiting for the future, but between the Eastern Washington stuff that I've done in the past, and then the Boise State stuff, we're trying to figure out what the best look is, I guess, and the best personnel for the field next year.
And when you recruit a quarterback, what's the first 3-4 items of your checklist that player has to check on?
Got to be accurate. Got to be accurate. It's got to be tough. The fundamentals and the footwork, is I've always been drawn towards that. I think I'm pretty detailed with the fundamentals and footwork. But from a general quarterback standpoint, you got to be accurate. You got to be tough. You got to be a leader. And Jayden's all of those things. And the escapability is also a big factor, which he's got. And the ability to make plays, when things break down, it's tough to teach, so you're trying to find those in the recruits that you're recruiting.
Do you feel toughness is like one of those traits that's maybe inherited, or do you really, does the scale have to show, what the toughness really is?
I think there's a lot of different forms of toughness, and a lot of it's mental toughness, especially at that position where they got to handle the highs and the lows, and whether it's a touchdown or a pick or a win or a loss, they've got to handle the media. They've got to handle a lot of things, mentally, and be able to kind of be that even keel, quarterback. That's part of the requirements of being a good quarterback, and so, and then physically on the field too, to be able to take a hit and get back up and show the team that you're willing to play hurt, to play banged up, and I think, looking at it on film, Jayden's taken some hits. I think he's a tough kid. I think he's obviously captured the team, as far as his playmaking ability. So, again, I'm just excited to get down here and see him truly in practice, and then be able to build some things off of him.
You had a talented freshman at Boise, who got hurt, I guess, but nonetheless, when you're working with younger guys, what's kind of the key thing toward helping them develop?
Well, I think it's mainly the understanding. A guy's going to play fast if he's confident in his preparation. So the preparation and the details within the offense is key. And so I'm obviously in practice, and you're working on the fundamentals and the footwork and all that stuff, which can aid in that accuracy and the decision making, all that stuff. But really it comes down to, does he understand the operation? Does he understand the details of each play? And if he does, or can see defenses and is able to make good decisions, I mean, that's a huge part of being an efficient quarterback and being an elite quarterback, is can you make decisions under fire? And so for some of those young guys that are working our way up, and then obviously they're going to be learning a new system, and a new operation. And so the quicker that they can figure that out, the more confident they can play.
Harder than it would seem to be the current situation where you cannot bring any coordinators from Boise State or any assistant coaches or any assistant coaches from other stops into this new job? Is that harder, easier than it needs to be on?
It can always be difficult. I think the coaches that we have here are phenomenal, and excited to work with them. It is interesting, being the last hire and jumping right into the mix, which I think is going to be fine, and it'll work just fine, because I think those coaches there are hungry and they're ready to go, and excited for what's about to happen, after this bowl game. And again, right now for me, I'm able to evaluate all those guys and just see what fits and where those guys strengths and weaknesses and things like that, and then put together the best plan moving forward. But yeah, is it an easy situation? It's not easy, but you got to build trust quickly, and a lot of that just comes from the preparation and making sure we're detailed and dialed in on what that operation is going to be.
You gotten a chance to look at the offensive line at all, and if so, what do you think about it?
A little bit. Again, I haven't been able to watch every game from this last year or from this year, so that's part of the plan. Getting through some of the film here this year, and then into the bowl game. I know we've got a good O-line, and Coach Christensen does a phenomenal job with those guys. So again, I'm a little bit, not quite ready to give an opinion on the O-line yet, but working on it.
When, going back to what Hope was asking you about the other assistants already being in place, how did that conversation go with Coach Edwards versus a case where you might have had a chance to get input into some of the assistants? Did he just say, hey, trust me, these guys are good, or how did that conversation
Well,
go?
Coach Edwards is the head coach, and he's got a plan moving forward, and they talked about the personnel that they wanted in those positions. And, really, again, I'm in that hiring process a little bit later, so that it kind of is what it is. We're jumping right into this thing and then putting it all together. The great thing is, again, I think we're going to work really well as a staff, and like I went back to, the trust factor is huge. And so in this initial couple weeks, and then once we get off the break and back into ball and preparing for spring ball, we've got to do a really good job of coming together and trusting each other and communicating, and whatever the situation is, it is, and now we've got to make the best of it.
Anyone else?
Did you have any trouble convincing your wife?
No, she was excited to come down to the Phoenix area for sure. So Boise is a great place. It's a beautiful place up there too. Different, obviously, in some different ways. But yeah, she's excited, and we're excited to get the kids down here.
You have 2 children.
Two kids. Brett's 3, and Valerie is 6. So one of each.